Alright, so, update time. I know, I haven't posted for 2 months, which is double the time. But listen, school is school, and you gotta get your grades, okay? They don't come from nowhere, alright? Anyway, new serious time. I have to be honest, I probably wouldn't come up with this idea if I didn't watch Wolfy Playz series first. So what I pretty much want to do is the same thing that Wolfy Playz did, which is the best around and also the best of the worst. But seeing how there's a difference between God and Wolf and Brawl Stars, I think the correct thing to do would be to showcase each brawler from each rarity. So, let's start this off on a very boring note. Shelly. What the fuck? Listen, I know, alright?
Technically, she doesn't have a rarity, she's just a beginning brawler.
Well, here's my counter-argument, mister. First of all, she has a different background than other brawlers, which is pretty much the whole rarity background, so you can look at this as a new rarity. Plus, anywhere that you would see epic, mythic, or any other rarity, there's starting brawler for her, meaning that technically it is a different rarity. So yeah, technically she is a different rarity, but this now means that I have to play Shelly. And if you know Shelly, then you would know that she gets pretty much crapped on every single competitive tier list. If you like this video, like, subscribe, maybe watch some other content, and let's start. Although, Wolfy Playz had that little thing that I still define as an intro, where he pretty much just goes, "The best around." Let me do the same thing, but a different song. But I gotta start it somehow, so you know what time it is? It's no time for losers, cause these are the champions of the brawl. Anyway, 3, 2, 1, go. Maybe let's start by talking about her kit. So she has about medium health, I would say, with some quite solid damage up close. She is a shotgunner, and probably the best thing she can do is kill tanks. Although that's mostly overshadowed by other tank killers, which are possibly more meta than her. Her gadgets are dash forward, which is, well, a dash forward, as well as clay pigeons, which increases her range for about 5 seconds. Now, those 5 seconds are only for her basic attacks, so like her super and such will not be boosted. Other than that, she also has 2 star powers. First, she has Shell Shock, which gets anyone slowed down who gets hit by Shelly's super. And then she also has Band-Aid, which... Man, these matches are too quick. I have tried to talk about her for the last 3 games, but they just go so quickly. Let me try something else, a different mode, okay? Maybe then we'll actually get something, well, talked about. So yeah, other than the things that I've already named, she has 2 star powers as well. First being Shell Shock, which slows down anyone that gets hit by Shelly's super. And Band-Aid, which heals Shelly for like 2000 HP whenever she's below 40 health. But that Shell Shock also has to charge for about, I think, 15 seconds? 20 seconds? I forgot. Things she can do might sound pretty good to some of you, but in reality, it's quite the opposite. Seeing what other brawlers can do, she's pretty basic to play, so I guess she has that going for her. But at the same time, she's also one of the weaker brawlers, mainly because of the variety, and he did not just do that, but she's also quite weak, mainly because of the variety of brawlers and the fact that other brawlers just do her job, but kind of better. Now these matches go for longer, and that's exactly what I needed. She at least has one thing going for her, when it comes to her versus other tank killers, and that is that she is probably one of the only tank killers that can actually break walls. I mean, Colette can't break walls. Do DPS? Nah, DPS brawlers don't count as tank killers, right? Of course, she's not only good for killing tanks, as you might have already noticed, but she's also good for killing assassins. Give an example, Mortis, the guy that has to literally come up close to ya to even do something. No, she doesn't get it. Okay, we're gonna end that one and draw. Shelly has also quite some counters herself, which are mostly brawlers with longer range. But also some other exceptions, such as tanks that just can kill her in 2 shots. Surprise, surprise, am I right? I mean, as long as you keep some distance away, or just, you know, charge your super before even interacting with the ball, you should be fine. I mean, it's just a matter of skill. Skill that I do not really possess, but I mean, hey, it works. Not for now, but sometimes. I think there are better options to play than Shelly, like Ems, for example. Instead of her having to attack from up close to deal the most damage, she has to do quite the opposite, which is attack from as far as possible. I mean, with her second sub power, she even does, like what, more damage than Shelly does with her normal attack. Which says a lot about a brawler who... What are you doing there? Which, well, I mean, it says something. That also says something. I think also the reason why not... Bruh. I also believe that a reason why Shelly isn't played too often is also because of how most of the maps don't even work for her. Like, most of the maps are about that control, which Shelly can actually provide, but the problem with Shelly is that even if she wanted to provide that control, the thing holding her back from actually providing it is the fact that Shelly herself is that most of the control comes from long range rather than close range. Like just when I said, Ems is good at control, for example, because she does a lot of damage from afar instead of from up close, which is quite the counterpart of what you want when it comes to control. Since a lot of control brawlers actually use the long range as the, so to say, main weapon. But I think a little thing that makes Shelly even worse than how she was before the update is... have you heard that there are now unbreakable walls? Yeah, there's a little problem. I don't think anyone thought about the fact that if you introduce unbreakable walls, then pretty much all of the wall breakers become at least somewhat weaker. And that definitely wasn't an exception with Shelly. Like, since now, if the enemies can just straight up hide behind the wall, and bada bing, bada boom, what a surprise, now they're behind the wall, Shelly cannot even super that wall to take them down. Yippee! So I think one of the things with... Oh. Shelly also has some flaws to her gadgets and star powers. Band-Aid, we know, it used to be broken, is really, like, not the best star power now when it comes to actually being useful. But hey, you wanna hear something that's even more scuffed than Band-Aid? Here, have Dash Forward, the most useless gadget in existence. They could have given her at least something, but instead she just had this one gadget that nobody's... Like, she could have had something, but instead she has that one gadget which performs even worse than other gadgets. No, performs the worst. And to be honest, no surprise that everybody play pigeons, since even if you are bad at aiming, you can still probably get some value out of it because, well, you sometimes get lucky. But man, if anyone plays Dash Forward, like, actually unironically, then I always think that's actually more of a troll than actual player. Like, it arguably is one of the most useless gadgets inside of the game, and possibly one of the worst abilities to ever added into the game. I think Shelly has a good potential, but I think some things need to be changed for that to happen. Probably the most obvious thing that has to change so far, her dash forward gadget, like, actually give her an ability that actually does something instead of just go forward a few blocks, that's it. Like, nobody is ever going to use that unironically. So I would advise to actually change it into something that, for example, helps her survive close range combats. Maybe you could make a gadget which is like, I'm still standing, and it's just that Shelly gains a low shield that prevents maybe like 20% damage. Like, that would have already been better than dash forward. To be honest, I think anything would be better than dash forward. I think everybody would like to have something that actually helps Shelly survive and not go around a few blocks, like you wouldn't be able to do that without the gadget. Like, really, the whole gadget just gets overshadowed by walking itself. So I think there's a few things you can do. First of all, rework dash forward to something that actually helps her. You could give her a shield, maybe a little speed boost with that shield as well, so she can actually catch up to the tanks she wants to kill, or assassins, I mean, your choice. You could also try to give her one of those
new quirks, you know?
How, for example, Daryl and Edgar have that automatic supercharge, or how Mandy has that little focus on her when she stands still. I think this is what really makes Shelly bad so far, because so many close-range brawlers now have anti-tank killer things like gadgets, star powers. Heck, Buster has a star power which not only reduces the damage he takes, but also makes him immune to, well, pretty much any negative effect. So why wouldn't you give Shelly something that counters, well, anti-tank killer things? How about you, for example, make Shell Shock her actual, like, passive quirk? Kind of how Brock got his Incendiary as his passive ability, you could do the same for Shelly. But anyway, I think I'm done with complaining. This is probably going to come out as a total mess, and I'm going to re-record it, but for now you have this. So if this actually does somehow make it, then it means that I actually found this to be quite interesting. Actually, I didn't do too bad with Shelly. I mean, we kind of grinded 50 trophies with her. But that still doesn't change the fact that I played casual. We're talking about, like, competitive meta. But hey, I mean, I'm just a guy named Olaf, and this was just a simple video. A simple idea for a series that I might continue, depending on if I actually know what to do or not. And for now, have a good time.